I have a small collective, like it's plus minus horizontal as much as it's possible when you're making activism stuff, because it's not equal what people are doing there. But we are a small collective, like Grassroots initiative, and we are helping people who are helping. It's linked with the genocide in Ukraine, with the war in Ukraine, and with the politics of Russian Empire. So mostly we are helping groups of people, activists, NGO workers, volunteers, invisible groups in Russia, like feminists or anarchists or leftists, or some people in a social field, like who are providing to help to support people in small things like education or evacuation. For example, we are helping a group of people who are evacuating people in Ukraine, like with some really difficult cases, like without papers, who were violently put into Russia Empire without their permission. So this kind of stuff we are doing, and we are providing psychological help. We are raising money, like from crowdfunding. We help to connect different groups to exchange the cases. So in cooperation without a lot of resources, just with some human resources, like it's not linked with money a lot. It's just like, and also we are helping with digital security. For example, some groups in different dots in Russian Empire who need some, not advices, just who needs some. So it's kind of, it's not a coordination. Mostly we are providing support how to make more security their style of their way of being this group, and it's a collective horizontal process, and it's long, so it's not like just we giving some advices. We're trying to work together and to analyze the situation together, to develop it together. Yes, and with the financial is the same. So yeah, and also sometimes we're helping some people who are mostly in vulnerable situation. They probably couldn't be our specific case, but if nobody can help them, we're trying to work with this kind of invisible cases. Yes, and unfortunately it's getting more like this. Well, first of all, it's my personal opinion, maybe some of our group, but we think that there are no real resistance from Russian opposition, like official, and there are some small things which is happening, and it's getting more deeper and maybe more precise, because since the beginning of the last war with Ukraine, it's yes, of course there are people who are getting more and more experience, but yes, with specifically I think that maybe several years ago we realized that there are no resistance, but also what's changing, some people are getting more radical in their ideas to do something, because it's getting worse in the circumstances of fascism. Fascism, it's a radical shit, and also around like some other movements, they are getting more and more radical, but they're still weak enough, and maybe some of them getting more weaker because people are tiring everywhere, people are burning out, people are could be lost, they could be disappointed. So it's really depend, and the cases are getting more difficult. So you, for example, to solve one of, I don't like the word case, but some situation with whom people ask us to support them, they are getting more and more complicated, and like you can see that people need help, they're out of money, they're out of power, they could be already in prison as a political persecutions, they need other help. You can't solve the situation of person with whom you're in contact briefly and quick. You need more and more time, and yes, of course, less money in a big NGO foundations, which is first of all, it's connected with a small grassroots initiative. They are yes, they are more independent, but yes, you can see that big corporations or big NGO, they are losing some money, and it's touching everybody. So Yes, but it's not the main problem. The main problem that people from left or resistant society, not only in Russian Empire but in other spots, they are quite weak. They need more. It takes a lot of time to change the situation. I don't know, maybe 10 years, something like this. And but still, I believe in this, and also I believe that it's never going to be easier, and it's going to be worse and worse, and it's also a good motivation for keep doing something. And I can see that still, like, small collectives are working cool, and it's very inspiring. I don't remember if I mentioned it already, but there is a thing called holistic digital security, holistic way of culture of, and it's also called culture of security, which is it's not just some knowledges. It's kind of a style of life, and it takes a lot of it gives a lot of relief. And for example, in our collective, we are all working anonymously, and we're trying to share this information and to exchange, and also to be criticized. Yes, this is important, and also it could prolong your activist life if you are really aware about digital security. And it's not arrogance thing. It's just it's the same as like use contraceptive things during the sexual. It's the same as using condoms. I think it's just a responsibility of other people and of yourself. I think it's important. And yes. It's really cool to know, to exchange the information and some experience, and maybe even to not to collaborate, because there are a lot of invisible war in our world. And for example, people from Myanmar, they have much more cool skills how to resist, because they are on an authoritarian regime for a lot of time, like more than 5 years already, and it used to, and it was like this before, and they are very they experience very different from, for example, as in Russian Empire, because there are some resistance, that people really fighting in forests. They do some real things, and for example, some comrades with whom we are linked, they went to Kurdistan to get some experience how to work, how to survive, and how to fight in a radical circumstance of life. It's a war, and the same with yes. For example, me, I can't go to Ukraine, but it's very cool to talk with people who can go there, with Ukrainians, people, with foreign people from Europe or other places, because they can tell you what's exactly how is it changing, and I think it's important to less talk, more listen. I don't know, maybe it sounds a little bit moralistic, but I think it's really important. It's a part of culture security and digital security, and to criticize also yourself and what are you doing, because the context is always changing, and it's too much information. We have a war, informative war in the world, which is also it's very bothering to do something with this kind of war. Like, it's also invisible. You think everywhere is propaganda and everything. So it's important to talk with people, with real people from different places, and not just to exchange, just to listen and understand